Creating video interviews as part of your content strategy can be your secret weapon for building relationships and establishing connections with the people that you want to work with and do business with. Find out more in this week's episode.
Welcome to the Content 10X Podcast, the show where content creators learn how to harness the power of content repurposing. And now, your host, Amy Woods.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Content 10X Podcast. I'm your host, Amy Woods, and this week we are looking at the benefits of creating video interviews on LinkedIn. Should you record video interviews on LinkedIn? Now, I'm a big fan of creating video content. I think it's the most engaging form of content, and there's so much that you can do when it comes to maximizing and repurposing video content. But when creating videos for LinkedIn, you usually see either someone talking to camera, or quite often people will record video interviews. So we'll see interviews with experts, thought leaders, someone who the host has invited onto their video for an interesting discussion to share with their audience. Now, you'll hear me say time and time again to video content creators and podcasters too, that if you're trying to establish your authority and build your influence, then you should record solo episodes. Because when you think about it, when you interview someone, whose expertise is on display? Whose authority are you building? Is it yours? Or is it your guests? Now, I'd argue that most of the time you're showcasing your guest expertise and not yours, which is fine, but it's really important to ensure that you don't almost in a way hide from putting yourself on display. So I think you really should create content other than interviews. However, interviews can be really powerful for establishing connections. They can help you grow your influence and grow your business. And believe me, because I've really seen this in action with clients of ours here at Content 10X, video interviews have transformed their businesses. So how can video interviews open doors for you? Well, you can reach out to interview people for your show who you want to establish a relationship with, people who you want to get on the radar of and get in front of, perhaps people who you want to do business with. So having a video interview show or creating video interview content, whether you call it a show, whatever you want to call it, means that you have an outlet that enables you to connect with people you otherwise may have struggled to connect with. So video interviews are basically a networking machine for you. Every person you interview can potentially become part of your network. And if you think about it, if there is someone you would like to speak to and you get in touch with them and you ask them if they would meet with you or have a quick call with you, you might get a no because we're all busy and it might not be the most enticing request for them. But if you get in touch with the same person and you say, hello, I'm the host of such and such a show. I interview leading experts in whichever industry you're in. And people I've interviewed in the past are X, Y, Z, and here are some links. And I'd love to invite you onto the show. I love your content and I'd love your thoughts on such and such a topic. And I think my audience would really benefit from hearing you speak more on this. Now that is more likely to get a yes. You're recognizing their knowledge, and let's face it, it's good for the ego and flattery can get you far. Hey, just a little break from this podcast episode to ask you a question. Would you like one single place that you can go to that provides you with everything you need to be able to implement the best practices in content repurposing for your video content, your podcast episodes, and your social media content today? To help you get more value from the content that you create, get more time back, and help you reach more people than you ever thought possible. If so, then you are going to love the Content 10X Toolkit. The toolkit is full of video tutorials, templates, checklists, swipe files, step-by-step guides and more that shows you how to repurpose your content in the best ways possible today. No more Googling, no more figuring it out yourself. We provide you with everything that you need to become a content repurposing pro. If this sounds like something that would interest you, then go check out the Content 10X Toolkit at content10x.com/toolkit. Okay, and back to this week's episode. So what do you need to know to record great interviews? Well, firstly, factor in some time to speak to them before and after the on-air recording. So you do need to be really respectful of time, of course, but do have a conversation. So build rapport. And if you have anything in particular that you want to speak to them about, then factor that in. So often for me, some really, really powerful conversations have taken place, what I call the bookends of the interview. And I know that to be the case with so many of my clients as well. And then there's the promotion and shouting out about the interview. So make sure that everyone knows, your social media followers, blog readers, email subscribers, make sure they know that that interview is taking place, especially if it's live, so they can attend and see it live. And make it easy for your guests to promote by giving them content as well. Don't expect them to, because often they won't, but make it easy for them. And then after the interview, create lots and lots of content, of course, so repurpose. You can create short teaser videos, you can create a podcast episode, a blog post, lots and lots of social media content, graphics, send an email to subscribers, write an article. There's so much you can do. And then make sure that you share all of this content. You want everyone to know about your interview and learn from it. And again, ask your guests to share, but don't be offended if they don't. Don't bank on it. So don't make tapping into their audience the goal of your interview. I don't believe that that works. There are so many other benefits though. So not only have you developed your network and established a new connection with your guest, but you are also increasing your authority and putting yourself in a really good position in your industry. So people start to see who you are having conversations with. They start to associate you with those individuals. You'll get more respect, you'll gain more credibility, and you'll start to see more people noticing you. You'll just get more exposure. So I think interviews on LinkedIn are so powerful. Video gets great organic reach on the platform. If you have LinkedIn Live, and not everyone does, but if you do, you need to apply for it. But if you have, then consider doing a weekly LinkedIn Live interview show. And if you don't, then do pre-recorded interviews and share them. That's absolutely fine as well. So here are my tips. So firstly, get your pitch right when you reach out to someone that you want to interview. Make it really easy for them to say yes. So be clear on the timing and the topic, what you need from them, and make that very little, by the way, not a huge questionnaire or anything like that. And then factor in time before and after to speak. Now, don't be worried about having a super professional setup, but don't make rookie mistakes either. So check out my guide at content10x.com/video guide. It's a free downloadable PDF and takes you through how to have a great setup for your videos, and also shares tips on on-screen presence as well. Okay, then follow up when it's gone live. If it was a pre-recorded video, give them content to share with their audience. Follow them on social media and engage with them. Stay connected. And ask if there's anything you can do in return for them as well. They've given up their time. Is there anything you can do for them? And then as a final last thought, and this might be a little bit controversial, but remember what your goal is for the interview. And it might not be to put the best content out in the world. It might just be to establish that connection, and that's absolutely fine. Now, I have clients who have grown their business exponentially through the interview shows that we work on with them, and it's not because they get millions of downloads, far from it, hundreds in fact, but they've established connections and authority. And all of this has been a real key factor in increasing their client numbers and their revenue. If you decide to start doing video interviews on LinkedIn or indeed on any platform, I would love to hear how you get on. So please do let me know. So I hope this episode has been really, really useful for you. And all that's left to say is thank you so much for listening. Now, if you haven't got a copy already, then please do consider getting a copy of my book, Content 10x, More Content, Less Time, Maximum Results. It is the ultimate guide to repurposing every type of content. Just head to content10x.com/book, or you can find the book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any of the online stores. It's actually available in paperback, Kindle format, and audiobook as well. And if you're interested in our fully end-to-end content repurposing services here at Content 10x, we work with podcasters, video creators and speakers and help them to repurpose their content. Then again, please do head on over to content10x.com. We'd love to hear from you. And talking of hearing from you, please do connect with me on social media. I'm on all the social media platforms with the handle at Content10x. So that's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. You will find me over there. So come over and say hi. And again, thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.